The Galactic Council chamber was massive. It floated in space, built from materials that could survive a star's death. Inside, representatives from 200 different species gathered. Today they watched something terrible about to happen. Commander Thalvex stood at the center platform. He was Vraxian, a species that looked like walking nightmares to most races. 8 feet tall, covered in dark armor-like skin with 4 arms and eyes that glowed red. The Vraxians had conquered 47 star systems in the last century. They were proud, they were strong, and they were very, very angry. The humans attacked our trade convoy, Thalvex said. His voice boomed through the chamber. They destroyed 3 of our ships, killed 200 Vraxian warriors. This is an act of war. Elder Quindal rose slowly from his seat. He was old, even by his species' standards. His people, the Velnar, lived for thousands of years. Quindal had been on the council for 800 years. He had seen many wars. He had seen many mistakes. Commander Thalvex, the elder said quietly, the records show that your convoy entered human colonial space without permission. The humans sent 12 warnings before they fired. Thalvex's 4 hands clenched into fists. We are Vraxian. We do not ask permission to travel through space. Then you attacked a human colony, another council member added. Proxima Refuge. You bombarded their settlement from orbit. They refused to surrender, Thalvex replied. We gave them one chance. They chose death. Elder Quindal touched a control panel. A hologram appeared above the chamber. It showed an ancient text, written in the old language that all council members learned. The words glowed with a soft blue light. Can you read this, Commander? The elder asked. Thalvex looked at the words. His translator implant worked quickly. It says, when humans retreat, do not follow. This is your great warning? This is supposed to frighten the Vraxian Empire? It should, Quindal said. That rule has been in our archives for 300 years. It was written in blood by 12 different species. All of them learned the same lesson. All of them paid a terrible price. Fairy tales, Thalvex said. He laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Stories to scare children. The humans are weak. They have only 32 colony worlds. We have conquered systems with stronger defenses than all of human space combined. On a screen at the side of the chamber, Captain Daehyun watched the conversation. He stood on the bridge of his ship, the Indomitable. It was a human destroyer, smaller than the Vraxian battleships, but fast. Very fast, sir, Lieutenant Jisoo said from her station. The Vraxians are moving their fleet. 20 warships. They're heading toward our position. Daehyun nodded slowly. He was young for a captain, only 35 years old. But he had served in the Colonial Defense Force for 15 years. He had been in 6 major battles. He knew what was coming. Send a message to all human ships in the sector, he said. Execute Protocol Shepard. Jisoo's fingers moved across her controls. Protocol Shepard confirmed, sir. All ships acknowledge. Back in the council chamber, Elder Quindal tried one more time. Commander Thalvex, I beg you to reconsider. The humans are not what they appear to be. They are prey, Thalvex interrupted. And we are hunters. The Vraxian Empire does not retreat. We do not negotiate with those who attack us. We pursue, we destroy, we conquer. The humans are retreating right now, another council member said. Our sensors show their ships leaving Proxima Refuge. They're running deeper into their own territory. Thalvex's eyes brightened with satisfaction. Of course they run. They know they cannot stand against us. My fleet will pursue them. We will destroy every human ship we find. We will bombard every colony until they beg for mercy. Please, Quindal said. His voice was urgent now. At least read the full warning. Learn why that rule exists. I do not have time for ancient stories, Thalvex said. He turned and walked toward the exit. The Vraxian Empire has made its decision. The humans will learn what happens when they challenge a superior species. After Thalvex left, the council chamber was silent. Finally, one of the younger members spoke. Elder Quindal, why is that rule so important? What happened to the other species who pursued the humans? The old Velnar sat down heavily. He looked tired. 12 species learned the hard way. The first were the Korthans 280 years ago. They had the largest fleet in the galaxy, 3,000 warships. They chased a small group of human colony ships into deep space. What happened? The young member asked. Only one Korthan ship returned, Quindal said. 1 ship out of 3,000. The captain was insane. He kept repeating the same words over and over. They were waiting. They were always waiting. It was a trap. Everything was a trap. The chamber was very quiet now. The humans, Quindal continued, have a strange way of fighting. Most species fight for territory. They fight to defend what they have. Humans do this too. But they also do something else, something that most species cannot understand. What is that? The young member asked. They choose where the battle happens, Quindal said. When humans retreat, they are not running away. They are selecting the place where they want to kill you. They are patient. They will lead you for days, for weeks, for months, and then, when you are exactly where they want you, when you are tired and far from support, when you think you have won, that is when they stop running. On the Indomitable, Captain Daehyun watched his displays. The Vraxian fleet was following them. 20 massive warships, each one 5 times larger than his destroyer. How long until we reach the outer veil? He asked. 18 days at current speed, Jisoo replied. The Vraxians are faster, though. They'll catch up in 14 days if we maintain this pace. Then slow down a little, Daehyun said with a small smile. We need them to stay interested. Not too close, not too far, sir, Jisoo said quietly. They really don't know, do they? The Vraxians. They don't know what we're doing. No, Daehyun said. They don't know. But they will learn, just like all the others learned. He touched his communications panel. This is Captain Daehyun to all human vessels. Execute retreat pattern Delta 7. Lead them home, people. Nice and slow. Let them think they're winning. Across human space, the message spread. 50 human ships began a carefully planned retreat. They moved deeper into their own territory, always staying just ahead of the Vraxian fleet. Always running, always fleeing, always looking weak. But in the deep darkness of human space, something else was happening. Defense platforms came online. Fighter squadrons prepared for launch. Marines loaded their weapons and boarded ships. And in a command center on Earth, Fleet Admiral Hanbuel looked at a map showing the Vraxian fleet's path. 14 days, she said to her staff. In 14 days, the Vraxians will cross the terminus line. Has anyone warned them? Elder Quindal tried, ma'am, an officer replied. The Vraxian commander refused to listen. Admiral Hanbuel nodded. She did not look happy. She looked sad. Then we'll teach them the lesson ourselves. Activate the Maw, prepare for Protocol Anvil, and may God forgive us for what we're about to do. The officer saluted. The Maw is being prepared, Admiral. All units report ready. In space, the Vraxian fleet continued its pursuit. Commander Thalvek stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the human ships flee before him. He smiled. Victory would be his. Glory would be his. The humans would learn to fear the Vraxian Empire. He did not know that he had just broken the oldest rule in the galaxy. He did not know that millions of his people would pay the price for his pride. And he did not know that every step forward was actually a step into the most carefully planned trap in human history. The hunt had begun. But the Vraxians did not yet understand a simple truth. When you hunt humans, you must ask yourself one question. Are you the hunter? Or are you the prey? 3 weeks had passed since the Vraxian fleet began its pursuit. Commander Thalvek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Doom of Worlds. His 4 arms were crossed as he watched the display screens. The human ships were still ahead of them, still running. Report, he commanded. 20 human vessels detected, his tactical officer said. They maintain distance of approximately 5 million kilometers. Same as yesterday. Same as the day before. Thalvex growled low in his throat. Why do they not fight? Why do they only run? Admiral Crixnell approached. She was the fleet's tactical genius, the one who had planned the conquest of 17 systems. She was old for a Vraxian, her armor-like skin marked with battle scars. She had fought for 50 years. She had never lost a battle. Commander, she said quietly, I must speak with you. In private. Thalvex looked at her with irritation, but he respected Crixnell. She had earned that much. He followed her to a side chamber away from the bridge crew. What troubles you, Admiral? He asked. This pursuit troubles me, Crixnell said. She activated a holographic display. It showed the path of their fleet over the past 3 weeks. Look at this path. The humans are not running randomly. They are leading us somewhere. Of course they are leading us somewhere, Thalvek said. They are leading us to their colonies. We will destroy them all. No, Crixnell said firmly. Look closer. 3 times we almost caught them. 3 times we had clear shots at their slowest ships. And each time at the last moment those ships suddenly found extra speed, they escaped. Thalvex looked at the data. Their engines are more powerful than we thought. Or they were pretending to be damaged, Crixnall said. Commander, I have been reviewing human military history. I assigned Subcommander Vexthar to research their past conflicts. And what did he find? Thalvex asked. Stories of their weakness? No, Crixnall said.
He found patterns.
Disturbing patterns. Across the fleet, Subcommander Vexthar sat in the archives room of his ship. He was young for his rank, eager to prove himself. But what he had discovered made his blood cold. He pulled up file after file. The Korthan invasion, 280 years ago. The Sarlacc's incursion, 190 years ago. The Dravok War, 112 years ago. 12 different species, 12 different conflicts. All of them had the same pattern. Human ships retreated. The enemy pursued. And then, silence. Most of the enemy fleet simply disappeared. The ones that survived came back broken. Their crews traumatized, speaking of traps and ambushes that seemed impossible. Vexithar sent his report to Admiral Crixnall. He marked it urgent. Meanwhile, on the human destroyer Retribution, Captain Yunwu reviewed the latest reports. He was 40 years old, a veteran of the Outer Rim Wars. He had been running the same operation for 3 weeks now, and everything was going according to plan. Status of the bait ships? He asked. Bait ships Delta 3 and Delta 7 are performing perfectly, Engineer Yunji reported. She was young, only 25, but brilliant with technology. We're using the damaged engine signature program. The Vraxians think those ships are limping along. They keep trying to catch them. Good, Yunwu said. Keep them interested. How far to the terminus line? 9 days, sir, Yunji said. If we maintain current speed, Yunwu nodded. He opened a secure channel to the other human ships. All vessels, this is Retribution. Maintain formation Delta 7. Continue normal retreat protocols. They're taking the bait perfectly. Across the human fleet, 50 captains acknowledged the order. They had all trained for this. They all knew their roles. Some of their ships would pretend to be damaged. Some would fall behind and then escape at the last second. Some would send out distress signals that the Vraxians could intercept. Everything was designed to make the Vraxians believe they were winning. Everything was designed to keep them chasing. Back on the Vraxian flagship, Admiral Crixnall received Vexithar's report. She read it 3 times. Then she went immediately back to Commander Thalvex. Commander, she said, we must stop the pursuit. We must turn back now. Thalvex looked at her in disbelief. Turn back? We have them on the run. We are closing in on their territory. That is exactly what worries me, Crixnall said. She showed him Vexthar's research. Look at this data. Every species that pursued humans into their own territory either disappeared or sued for peace. The Korthans lost 3,000 ships. The Sarlaccs lost their entire invasion force. The Dravok were weak, Thalvex interrupted. We are Vraxian. We are stronger than all of those species combined. The Dravok thought the same thing, Crixnall said quietly. They had 2,000 ships. Only 43 returned. Commander, please. Something is wrong here. The humans are too calm. They are too organized. This retreat is too perfect. Thalvex turned away from her. I will not retreat. I will not be remembered as the Vraxian commander who ran from humans. We continue the pursuit. That night, Crixnall could not sleep. She reviewed the sensor data again and again, and then she noticed something. Something that made her blood freeze. They had passed 17 defensive platforms over the past 3 weeks. 17 stations that should have been defending human space. But all of them were abandoned. All of them were dark. And all of them were facing the wrong direction. The weapons on those stations were not pointing inward, toward the Vraxian fleet. They were pointing outward, away from human space, as if the humans were not worried about invaders coming in, as if they were worried about something trying to get out. Crixnall immediately checked the platforms more carefully. She had her best technicians analyze every scan, and they discovered something impossible. The platforms were not abandoned. They were in standby mode. Low power. Waiting. Commander Thalvex, she called over the communications. The defensive platforms we passed. They're not destroyed. They're dormant. So? Thalvex replied. The humans abandoned them when they fled. This proves their weakness. No, Crixnall said. Defensive platforms do not face outward unless they are designed to trap someone inside. Thalvex did not respond for a long moment. "Nonsense," he finally said. "You are seeing shadows, Admiral. We continue forward." On the Retribution, Captain Hyunwoo smiled as he received a report from reconnaissance. The Vraxians just scanned Platform Echo 7. They're starting to notice. "Should we slow down, sir?" Engineer Unji asked. "Give them time to think." "No," Hyunwoo said. "If we change our pattern now, they'll know something is wrong. We keep running. Let them figure it out on their own. Or don't. Either way, in 9 days this will be over." He opened another channel. "Retribution to command. We are on schedule. The Vraxians will cross the terminus line in 9 days." From Earth, Fleet Admiral Hanbuel responded. "Acknowledged. Retribution. All units are in position. The maw is ready." As the days passed, more Vraxian officers began to notice the strange details. The way human supply dumps were conveniently placed along the route. The way every human ship seemed to know exactly where to go. The way their retreat was perfectly timed, perfectly coordinated. Vexthar compiled another report. This one was even more disturbing. He had found references to something called the Maw in captured human communications from previous wars. But there was no data about what it was, just fear. Every species that mentioned it seemed terrified. "What is the Maw?" he wrote in his report, "and why do all defeated species speak of it with such horror?" Admiral Crixnell read the report. She went to Commander Thalvex one final time. "Commander," she said, "I am formally requesting that we halt the pursuit. The evidence is overwhelming." "This is a trap. A trap requires bait," Thalvex said. "We are not the prey here, Admiral. We are the hunters. The humans are running because they are afraid. In 4 days we will cross into the deepest part of their territory, and then we will begin the true destruction." Crixnell looked at him. She saw the pride in his eyes, the certainty, the arrogance, and she knew that nothing she said would change his mind. "As you command," she said quietly, "but I am noting my objection in the official log, and I am requesting that all ships prepare for heavy combat." "Prepare all you want," Thalvex said. "But we will not need it." "The humans will surrender when they see they have nowhere left to run." 4 days later, the Vraxian fleet approached a line of ancient buoys. They were old, older than any technology the Vraxians had seen, and they were all transmitting the same message in 200 different languages. "Turn back. This is your only warning. Turn back now." Commander Thalvex laughed when he heard it. "Finally. The humans show their fear." "They beg us to stop, Commander," Admiral Crixnell said. Her voice was tight with tension. "Those buoys are in 200 languages, including languages from species that have been extinct for centuries. This warning has been here for a very long time." "So the humans learned from history," Thalvex said. "They try to frighten others away. It will not work on us," he gave the order. The Vraxian fleet crossed the line of buoys. They passed the terminus line and entered deep human territory. Behind them, the ancient buoys stopped transmitting. They simply went dark, as if they knew their warning had been ignored, as if they were witnesses to a mistake that had been made many times before. On the Retribution, Engineer Yunji looked at Captain Hyunwoo. "Sir, they crossed the terminus line." Commander Thalvex stared at his displays in confusion. The human ships had stopped running. After 3 weeks of pursuit, after leading the Vraxian fleet deeper and deeper into their territory, the humans had simply stopped. "What are they doing?" he demanded. His tactical officer checked the sensors carefully. "Commander, the human ships are turning around. They're facing us now." "Finally," Thalvex said with satisfaction. "They realize they cannot run anymore. They will make their last stand. Prepare all weapons. We will destroy them quickly." Admiral Crixnell stood rigid at her station. Her instincts screamed danger. Everything about this felt wrong. She checked her sensors again and again. "Commander, I'm detecting energy signatures, multiple sources, all around us." "Explain," Thalvex commanded. "I don't know," Crixnell admitted. "The sensors are picking up power fluctuations from at least 200 locations, but I see nothing on visual scans." On the Retribution, Captain Hyunwoo opened a wide-band channel. He knew the Vraxians would hear every word. That was the point. "Attention, Vraxian fleet. This is Captain Choi Hyunwoo of the Human Colonial Defense Force. You have crossed the terminus line. You were warned not to pursue. You were given every chance to turn back. You chose to continue." Thalvex laughed. "Is this your surrender, human?" Do you beg for mercy now? No, Hyunwoo said calmly. This is your education. Another voice came over the channel. This one carried more authority, more weight. This is Fleet Admiral Kim Henbuel, Supreme Commander of the Human Defense Force. Commander Thalvex, you are about to learn why the Galactic Council placed that warning in their archives. You are about to learn why 12 species before you failed. You are about to learn the oldest rule in the galaxy. I do not fear human words, Thalvex replied. You should, Admiral Hanbuel said, because what happens next is not about courage. It's not about strength. It's about understanding something fundamental about human warfare. We don't retreat, Commander. We reposition. We don't run away. We choose where you die. Suddenly, space came alive around the Vraxian fleet. Ships appeared from nowhere, hundreds of them. They had been hiding in stealth mode, their signatures masked, their weapons cold. Now they revealed themselves in a perfect sphere around the Vraxian ships. Impossible, Thalvex whispered. Not impossible, another voice said. This one belonged to Dr. Yoon Minho, a human xenoanthropologist. His voice was calm, almost professorial. Commander, my name is Dr. Minho. I study alien species. I study how they think, how they fight, how they make war, and I have been asked to explain something to you before the battle begins. I do not need explanations from prey, Thalvex snarled. Nevertheless, you will hear it, Dr. Minho continued. Humans invented the tactical retreat 3,000 years ago. Do you know what a tactical retreat is, Commander? It's not running away from danger, it's running toward an advantage. We developed this strategy when we still fought each other on our home planet. We perfected it over millennia of constant warfare. Admiral Crixenal checked her sensors frantically. Commander, I count 437 human vessels. We are completely surrounded, and the defensive platforms we passed, they're coming online, all of them. On the screens, the supposedly abandoned platforms began to glow. Weapon systems activated. Power cores that had been dormant for weeks suddenly roared to life. The platforms that faced outward began to rotate, their massive cannons turning inward toward the Vraxian fleet. You see, Commander, Dr. Minho explained, every species that enters our space with hostile intent sees the same thing. Defensive platforms facing the wrong way. Abandoned stations, easy pickings, and every species makes the same mistake. They think we are running. They think we are weak. They chase us deeper and deeper until... Until what? Thalvex demanded, but his voice had lost its confidence. Until you are exactly where we want you, Admiral Hanbuel answered. Welcome to the Maw, Commander. This kill box has existed for 273 years. We built it after the Korthan invasion. We have improved it with every subsequent attack. 23 different species have triggered it. You are the 23rd. Thalvex looked at his tactical displays. His fleet of 20 warships was surrounded by over 400 human vessels. The defensive platforms created an outer ring of firepower, and the human ships they had been chasing for 3 weeks now formed a wall in front of them. This is still a fair fight, he said, but there was doubt in his voice now. We are Vraxian. We do not surrender. Oh, we know, Admiral Hanbuel said. That's why we brought enough firepower to destroy your fleet 10 times over. We don't take chances, Commander. That's another thing humans learned a long time ago. When you fight to win. You don't fight fair. You fight smart. All ships, Thalvex ordered. Attack formation. Target the nearest human vessels. Fire at will. The Vraxian ships opened fire. Their weapons were powerful, designed to crack planets. Beams of energy and missiles streaked toward the human ships. But the human ships were already moving. They scattered in a pattern that seemed random but was actually carefully choreographed. The Vraxian weapons hit empty space. Every shot missed. Impossible, Thalvex said again. Our targeting systems are perfect. Your targeting systems are predictable, Lieutenant Commander Osujin said over the channel. She was a fighter wing commander, and her voice was full of cold amusement. We fought Vraxians before. We know how your weapons track. We know how your computers think. We've been studying you for 50 years. From the human ships, fighter craft began to launch, thousands of them, small, fast, agile. They swarmed toward the Vraxian fleet like angry insects. Admiral Crixnall watched them come. "Commander, we need to retreat, now while we still can." "No," Thalvex said. "We are Vraxian. We do not retreat. All ships concentrate fire on the fighters. Destroy them." The Vraxian warships fired again. Their point defense systems lit up the darkness. Thousands of rounds per second, lasers, missiles. Any one of those weapons could destroy a fighter. But the human fighters moved like nothing the Vraxians had ever seen. They dodged and weaved. They used each other's shields. They flew patterns that seemed suicidal but somehow worked. And slowly, steadily, they closed the distance. "This is Wing Commander O Sujin," the voice said over the open channel. "All wings, execute Pattern Reaper, light them up." The fighters opened fire. Their weapons were small compared to the massive guns on the Vraxian warships. But there were thousands of fighters, and they were not shooting randomly. "They're targeting our sensor arrays," Admiral Crixnall shouted. "Commander, they're blinding us." The human fighters focused their fire on specific systems, communication arrays, sensor dishes, targeting computers. They were not trying to destroy the Vraxian ships, not yet. They were dismantling them piece by piece. "How do they know where to shoot?" a Vraxian officer asked in horror. "Because we've fought your ships before," Wing Commander Sujin replied. "The Vraxians fought the Terran colonies in the Outer Rim Wars 15 years ago, remember? You destroyed 3 of our mining stations. We studied every piece of wreckage from your ships. We know every weak point. We know every vulnerability. We've been waiting for you to give us an excuse to use that knowledge. One of the Vraxian destroyers lost all power. Its systems went dark. The fighters had cut it off from the rest of the fleet. Now watch," Admiral Hanbuel said, "while we show you what humans do to ships that cannot fight back." A larger human vessel moved toward the disabled destroyer. Instead of destroying it, the ship extended boarding tubes. "They're boarding us?" Admiral Crixnall said in disbelief. "In the middle of a battle?" "Marine Commander An Junho here," a new voice said. "Breaching now." The boarding tubes attached to the Vraxian destroyer. Explosions blew open the hull, and then human marines poured inside. But they did not kill the crew. They simply disabled them with stun weapons and took control of the ship. "Why?" Thalvex demanded. "Why do you not just destroy it?" "Because we want prisoners," Admiral Hanbuel said. "We want witnesses. We want you to go back to your empire and tell them what happened here. We want you to tell them why the rule exists." Another Vraxian ship went dark. Then another. The human fighters were systematic, efficient. They had done this before. Many times before. "Commander," Admiral Crixnall said urgently, "we have lost 6 ships. 12 more are heavily damaged. Our weapons cannot hit their fighters. Our shields cannot stop their larger vessels. We must retreat." "No," Thalvex said. But his voice was shaking now. "We are Vraxian. We do not. You do not understand." Admiral Hanbuel interrupted. "This is not about courage, Commander. This is not about pride or honor. This is about reality. You brought 20 ships into the Maw. We brought 437. You are outgunned. You are outmaneuvered. You are outmatched. And you were from the moment you crossed the terminus line." On the Retribution, Captain Hyunwoo watched the battle unfold. It was not really a battle. It was an execution. A carefully planned, precisely executed operation that the human fleet had practiced hundreds of times. "Sir," Engineer Yunji said quietly, "should we feel bad about this?" "No," Hyunwoo replied. "They were warned. The Council warned them. We warned them. Those buoys warned them. They chose to ignore every warning because they thought they were superior." The battle was over. The Vraxian fleet, once proud and mighty, now floated broken in space. 17 warships sat dark and powerless. Their crews were stunned, captured, or dead. Only 3 ships remained functional. Commander Thalvex's flagship was one of them. He stood on his bridge and watched as human marines boarded his captured vessels. They moved with frightening efficiency. No wasted motion. No hesitation. These were not soldiers who had learned war recently. These were warriors whose entire species had been fighting for thousands of years. Admiral Crixnall, Thalvex said quietly. You were right. This was a trap. I should have listened. The old admiral looked at him. Her 4 eyes held no anger, only sadness. Yes, Commander. You should have. But pride is a powerful thing. It blinds us to danger. On the Vraxian destroyer Shadow of Death, Marine Commander An Junho led his team through the corridors. His armor was dark gray, covered with sensors and weapons. His helmet display showed him where every Vraxian crew member was located. Team 1, secure the engine room, he ordered. Team 2, take the bridge. Team 3, medical bay. Stun only. We want prisoners, not corpses. The Marines moved like ghosts. Their weapons fired pulses of energy that knocked Vraxian warriors unconscious without killing them. Within 15 minutes, the entire ship was under human control. Junho walked onto the bridge of the captured destroyer. A Vraxian officer lay on the floor, stunned but alive. The Marine commander knelt beside him. You're alive, Junho said in the Vraxian language. His translator implant made it sound perfect. Your ship is now property of the Human Defense Force. Your crew will be treated according to the Galactic Convention on Prisoners of War. You will not be harmed unless you resist. Do you understand? The Vraxian officer blinked slowly. You speak our language? Of course, Junho said. We've been studying you for 15 years. We know your language. We know your culture. We know your military tactics. We know everything about you. That's why you lost. In space above them, a single human fighter streaked past. Pilot Kang Yuri had been in combat for 3 hours straight. Her call sign was Reaper, earned by her incredible kill count. Today alone, she had disabled 17 Vraxian destroyers. Wing Commander Sujin, this is Reaper, she reported. I count 19 enemy ships disabled. 1 more active target detected. It's trying to run. Negative, Reaper, Commander Sujin replied. Let it go. Admiral's orders. We need some of them to escape and spread the word. Understood, Yuri said. But she followed the fleeing Vraxian ship for a few seconds longer, just to make sure it knew it was being watched. Then she peeled away, her fighter dancing through space with impossible grace. The Vraxian captain of that fleeing ship watched his sensors in terror. The human fighter had been following him. It could have destroyed him easily, but it let him go. That somehow made it worse. The humans were not just defeating them. They were showing mercy, and that mercy felt like an insult. On Commander Thalvex's flagship, a communication came through. It was Admiral Hanbjol's voice, calm and professional. Commander Thalvex, you and your 2 remaining functional ships will be escorted to the terminus line. Once there, you will be released. You will return to Vraxian space and report what happened here. But first, you will come aboard my flagship. There is something you need to see, something you need to understand. And if I refuse? Thalvex asked, though he already knew the answer. Then you will die here, Admiral Hanbjol replied simply. Your choice. 2 hours later, Thalvex stood in a shuttle heading toward the human command ship. Admiral Crixnell sat beside him. She had insisted on coming. If we are to learn, she said, then we both must learn. The human command ship was called the Indomitable Will. It was massive, larger than any Vraxian vessel. But what struck Thalvex immediately was how old it looked. The hull bore scars from hundreds of battles. This ship had seen war for decades, maybe longer. They were met by an escort of human Marines. Not prisoners, guests, but guests who were very carefully watched. They were led to a large room. Inside, Admiral Kim Hanbjol waited. She was shorter than Thalvex, as all humans were, but she stood with an authority that made her seem taller. Her uniform was simple, dark blue with silver insignia. Her face was calm. Commander Thalvex, she said with a small nod. Admiral Crixnell, please sit. They sat awkwardly in chairs designed for humans. Thalvex felt humiliated. He had come here as a conqueror and now sat as a defeated prisoner. Do you know why you lost? Admiral Hanbjol asked. Because you had more ships, Thalvex replied bitterly. No, another voice said. An older human man entered the room. That's not why you lost. This is Professor Shintajan, Admiral Hanbjol said. He is a military historian. He teaches at our war college. I asked him to speak with you because I believe words may accomplish what weapons cannot. Professor? The old man sat down slowly. He looked tired, like someone who had seen too much war. Commander Thalvex, how long has your species been spacefaring? 300 years, Thalvex said. And in those 300 years, how many wars have you fought against other species? 47, Thalvex said with some pride. We conquered 47 systems. Professor Tajan nodded slowly. 47 wars in 300 years, impressive. Now let me tell you about humans. We have been spacefaring for only 200 years. But before that, we spent 10,000 years fighting ourselves. What? Admiral Crixnell asked in confusion. 10,000 years, the professor repeated. We fought wars on our home planet for 10,000 years. We invented weapons designed to kill other humans. We developed tactics meant to defeat human enemies. We studied war the way you study mathematics. It became part of our nature. He activated a display. Images appeared. Ancient battles. Primitive weapons. Then more advanced technology. Then orbital warfare. Then fleet actions. Every species you conquered was learning how to fight aliens, Professor Tajan continued. But humans? We learned how to fight humans. Do you understand what that means? No, Thalvex admitted. It means we learned to fight the most dangerous, most adaptable, most unpredictable species in the galaxy, the professor said. Ourselves. Every tactical doctrine we developed was tested against other humans. Every strategy was countered by another human strategy. We spent thousands of years in an arms race against ourselves. Admiral Hanbiel stood up. And then we went to space. We took all that knowledge, all those tactics, all that experience, and we discovered that other species had not done the same. They were used to fighting different aliens, different technologies, different thinking. But they were not used to fighting species that had spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war, Professor Tajan finished. Admiral Crixnell leaned forward. The tactical retreat. You said you invented it 3,000 years ago. Yes, the professor said. He showed more images. Ancient human armies used it constantly. Draw the enemy in, make them think they're winning. Lead them somewhere that favors you, then turn and destroy them. We called it many things. Feigned retreat, strategic withdrawal, tactical repositioning. But the principle was always the same. Control where the battle happens. The Maw, Admiral Crixnell said quietly. You've built many of them, haven't you? 47, Admiral Hanbiel said. One for every aggressive species we've encountered. Some have never been activated. Those species listened to the warnings, but 23 species ignored the warnings. All of them learned the same lesson you're learning now. Thalvex felt something he had never experienced before. Complete and total defeat. Not just military defeat, intellectual defeat. Everything he thought he knew about warfare was wrong. The Vraxians had been playing a game they didn't understand. Why do you tell us this? He asked. Why not just kill us? Because we don't want to kill you, Admiral Hanbiel said. We want you to go home. We want you to tell your empire what happened. We want them to understand that humans are not prey. We are not weak. We are patient. We are calculating. And when we retreat, it's because we've already decided where you're going to die. She walked to a window that looked out at the captured Vraxian ships. We could have destroyed your entire fleet in the first 10 seconds. We had weapons locked on every ship from the moment you crossed the terminus line. But we didn't destroy you. We disabled you. We captured you. Do you know why? No, Thalvex whispered. Because dead warriors can't tell stories, Admiral Hanbiel said. But living warriors can. You will go back to your empire. You will tell them about the Maw. You will tell them about human tactics. You will tell them why the rule exists. And maybe, just maybe, the next time a Vraxian commander wants to pursue humans, they will remember your story and choose wisdom over pride. Professor Tajan stood up slowly. There's an old human saying, Commander. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. 23 species have now learned this lesson. We hope your people will be smart enough to learn from your experience rather than repeating your mistake. How many of my crew will you release? Admiral Crixnell asked. 80%, Admiral Hanbiel replied. The other 20% will remain as prisoners of war until a formal peace treaty is signed. They will be treated well, fed properly, given medical care, allowed to communicate with their families. We are not monsters, Admiral. 3 weeks had passed since the battle at the Maw. Commander Thalvex stood in front of the Galactic Council once again. But this time he was not proud. This time he did not boast about Vraxian strength. This time he came to deliver a message written in his people's blood. The council chamber was silent as he approached the center platform. Every representative from every species watched him. They all knew what had happened. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Honorable council members, Thalvex began. His voice was quiet, humble. I come before you to admit my mistake, and to warn others not to repeat it. Elder Quindal sat in his seat, his ancient eyes sad. He had seen this speech before, 22 times before, and each time he had hoped it would be the last. 3 weeks ago, Thalvex continued, I led 20 Vraxian warships in pursuit of human vessels. I was warned not to pursue. The Elder showed me the rule. I ignored it. I thought the Vraxian Empire was stronger than the humans. I thought we could not lose. He paused, his forehands clenching. I was wrong. The humans destroyed 17 of my ships. They captured 8,000 of my warriors. They humiliated the Vraxian Empire in a battle that lasted less than 4 hours. And they did it without effort. They were not lucky. They were not desperate. They were simply ready. A young council member raised their hand. But surely the humans had superior numbers. Yes, Thalvex admitted. They had 400 ships to our 20. But that is not why we lost. We lost because we did not understand what we were fighting. Admiral Crixnell, please, tell them what you learned. Admiral Crixnell stepped forward. She had aged in those 3 weeks. The defeat had marked her deeply. The humans are not like other species. They spent 10,000 years fighting each other before they came to space. War is not something they learned recently. It is part of their culture, their history, their very nature. She activated a hologram. It showed the battle at the Maw from the Vraxian perspective. The council members watched as human fighters swarmed the Vraxian ships, targeting specific systems with impossible precision. They knew exactly where to shoot, Crixnell explained. They knew our ship designs. They knew our weaknesses. They had studied us for years. And when we pursued them, we were not chasing defeated prey. We were walking into a trap they had prepared centuries ago. The hologram shifted to show the Maw itself. The defensive platforms, the hidden ships, the perfect kill zone. This structure has existed for 273 years, Crixnell said. The humans built it after the first species pursued them into their territory. Since then, they have improved it 23 times. Once for each species foolish enough to ignore the warnings. We are the 23rd. On Earth, in the Human Defense Force headquarters, Ambassador Huang Sora watched the council proceedings on a monitor. She was responsible for human diplomatic relations with the galaxy. This was her job, to make sure other species understood humanity without needing to fight them. The Vraxians are doing well, she said to Professor Tajin, who stood beside her. Their testimony is clear and honest. Yes, the professor agreed. Thalvex learned his lesson. The question is whether others will learn from him. At that moment, several human warriors entered the room. Among them was Captain Daehyun from the Indomitable, Lieutenant Jisoo, Captain Hyunwoo from the Retribution, and Wing Commander Sujin. They had been invited to Earth to meet with the ambassador. You all did well, Ambassador Sora said to them. The operation was executed perfectly. 0 human casualties, minimal Vraxian deaths. This is exactly how we want these encounters to go. Ma'am, Captain Daehyun said carefully. May I ask a question? Of course. Why do we do this? Why do we build these elaborate traps instead of just showing our strength from the beginning? Why let them chase us for weeks? Ambassador Sora smiled sadly. Because, Captain, if we simply destroyed every aggressive fleet at their border, they would not learn. They would think they were unlucky. They would think they made a tactical error. But when we let them pursue us, when we let them think they're winning, when we lead them into our territory and then destroy them, they understand. They understand that the defeat was inevitable, that we planned it, that we are not weak. We are patient, Professor Tajin nodded. It's psychological warfare. We don't just defeat our enemies militarily. We defeat them intellectually. We show them that they never had a chance, that from the moment they decided to pursue us, their fate was sealed. Back at the council chamber, Elder Quindal finally spoke. Commander Thalvex, you said the humans released you. Why do you think they did that? So we could deliver this message, Thalvex replied. So we could warn others. The humans do not want endless war. They want to be left alone. But if you force them to fight, they will win. Not because of luck, not because of superior numbers, but because they are simply better at warfare than any species we have encountered. He looked directly at the council members. I formally request that the rule be updated. It should not simply say, "Do not pursue the humans." It should explain why. It should tell future species what awaits them if they ignore this warning. Elder Quindal stood up slowly. "I agree. Let the record show that the rule shall be updated as follows." He activated the ancient hologram, the one that had displayed the original warning. Now new words appeared beneath it. "When humans retreat, do not follow," the elder read aloud. "This is not cowardice. This is strategy. When humans run, they are not fleeing from danger. They are leading you to your death. They are choosing the battlefield. They are preparing the trap. They spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war against themselves. They built kill zones throughout their territory, waiting for the arrogant to pursue. 23 species have learned this lesson. Learn from their mistake. When humans retreat, let them go. Or join the list of those who thought themselves superior and died in the maw." The council chamber was absolutely silent. No one spoke. No one moved. The weight of those words settled over everyone present. "This rule is now officially updated in all council archives," Elder Quindal said. "May it save lives in the future." On Earth, Ambassador Sora turned to the assembled warriors. "The council has updated the rule. Your success at the maw has reinforced the lesson. With luck, we won't need to activate another maw for many years." "Ambassador," Wing Commander Sujin asked, "how many maws do we actually have?" 47, Sora replied. "One in every major approach to human territory. Some have been activated multiple times. Some have never been used. The maw you fought in, the maw of the Outer Veil, has been activated 7 times now. It has a 100% success rate. And if a species is strong enough to fight through the maw," Lieutenant Jisoo asked, "then we have contingencies beyond the maw," Professor Tajin said quietly. "But that has never been necessary. The maw is designed to stop any conventional fleet, and so far it has succeeded every time." 3 months later, a new species entered Council space. They were called the Draken, a warrior race from the far side of the galaxy. They were aggressive, confident, and they immediately began making territorial demands. Elder Quindal requested a meeting with their commander. The Draken leader, a massive creature named Crix, came to the council chamber with 6 bodyguards. "Why have you summoned me, old one?" Crix demanded. "Because I wish to tell you a story," Elder Quindal replied. "A story about the oldest rule in the galaxy." "Please sit." Crix sat, clearly impatient. "Make it quick. I have systems to conquer." "Of course," Elder Quindal said. "Let me tell you about a species called humanity. They control only 32 colony worlds. They appear weak. They have small fleets. They avoid confrontation. Many species have seen them as easy targets. And you want me to avoid them?" Crix laughed. "The Draken fear no one." "I do not ask you to fear them," Elder Quindal said patiently. "I ask you to be wise. 23 species have pursued humans into their territory. 23 species have been defeated. The most recent was the Vraxian Empire 3 months ago. They lost 17 warships in 4 hours. "The Vraxians are weak," Crix said dismissively. "The Vraxians had conquered 47 systems," Elder Quindal replied. "They had never lost a battle before they met the humans." "Are you stronger than the Vraxians?" Crix hesitated. The Vraxians had a reputation as fierce warriors. If they had been defeated so completely— "Let me show you something," Elder Quindal said. He activated the recordings from the maw. The Draken leader watched as the Vraxian fleet was systematically dismantled by human forces. His eyes widened as he saw the precision, the planning, the sheer overwhelming superiority of the human tactics. "This is impossible," Crix whispered. "No," Elder Quindal said. "This is reality. The humans are not what they appear to be. They do not seek conquest. They do not desire war. But if you attack them, if you pursue them, you will face this. And you will lose." He showed the updated rule with its full explanation. Crix read it carefully. His expression changed from arrogance to uncertainty to fear. "So the humans just wait?" Crix asked. "They build these traps and wait for species to walk into them?" "Yes," Elder Quindal said. "They have 47 such traps. They have maintained them for centuries. They are patient. And they are deadly." Crix stood up slowly. "I will convey this information to my government.